Hey everyone, welcome back to A Geek's Garage. So today we are going to be back working on my 1984 Dodge Rampage. We finally have all of the brakes done. It took way too long to get the brakes done, but between broken brake lines, let's see what else. We had broken brake lines, we had soft lines that had actually frozen up, which then required even more work. It's been a mess. You can see it in some of the other videos, but the brakes are finally done. So the plan is to get the car back down on the ground today on all fours so I can move on to something else. So what we're going to be doing today is replacing the shocks in the rear. The shocks, surprisingly enough, are no longer manufactured. After a bunch of web searching, checking a few forums and Facebook groups, found out that a 1980 Dodge Aspen had similar, but not exactly the same, shocks. So I've picked up a set of them, and we're going to go ahead and put them in and see how it goes. There's going to only be one small modification that needs to be done. The mounting bolts for the shocks are 1/2-inch bolts, and the bolts that were in the Rampage were something smaller than a 1/2-inch. So we're going to have to bore things out just a little bit in the area where we mount the shocks to. Not a big deal. But once that's done, these should, in theory, mount right up. So we're going to see how that goes. So with that, let's go ahead and get going. With the old shocks out, it should be an easy task to put the new ones in. Yeah, not so much. Let's watch me struggle for a minute to try and figure out how to compress these shocks while I'm under the vehicle, and then we'll jump and I'll show you how I actually solve this problem. Okay, I think that's enough struggling. Let's see how I actually solve this problem. Here's what I did. I got 2 pieces of 14 gauge wire and wrapped them around both ends of the shock. Once I had them fairly well secured, as you'll see here, I twisted the 2 ends together, kind of interlocking them with each other. And then once those were there, I put my entire body weight into the shock and compressed it down. And as I compressed it down, I twisted the wire so that it got tighter and tighter, basically keeping the shock so that it stayed in a compressed form, but made for a real easy way for me to undo it once I was under the car and let it expand into the spot where we needed to go. And as you can see here, the new shock is now compressed much smaller than the old one that I pulled out, so we should be able to go ahead and put this thing right in without any issues. Let's go ahead and see that in action. Alright, here we are under the car, so let's go ahead and see how this works. We'll mount up the top bolt and then just start slowly releasing the tension on that wire, and as you can see, the shock slides right out, opens up, and slides right into place. So now all we got to do is repeat this on the other side, and we're ready to go. Okay, so there we go. She's back down on the ground. It's taken a while to get here. Long time on the brakes. Luckily, doing these shocks didn't take long at all. Did want to mention, kind of missed something exciting. I wasn't filming when I was putting the wheels back on. And if you remember back from one of my previous videos when I was first putting this car up on jack stands, I said, you know, I don't quite feel comfortable with how these are on here. I bet you if I pulled the engine, the whole car would tip. Well, it turns out if you start putting the wheels back on, the car will tip. So I definitely did not put the jack stands in the right spot. Live and learn, I guess. It certainly would have made for an exciting video. Wish I kind of had captured it, but oh well. So anyways, with that being said, we are now done with the brakes and we are done with the shocks. Hopefully it's going to ride a little bit better now, but it's time for me to move on to something else. So what am I going to be doing? Not 100% sure yet. Most likely, I'm going to break into the interior. I want to go ahead, pull out the seats. I want to pull out the carpet and make sure that there's no water damage in the floor because these things are notorious for holding water and then rusting through. Looking from the bottom, it doesn't look bad, but I want to take a look and see. So I'm probably going to disassemble the interior next, clean everything up, send the center console to somebody to try and reupholster it or at least make it look a little bit better since it's cracked. But who knows? If it's too cold for me to get in there, because all the plastic is old, if it's cold, it's also going to be brittle, so I don't want to be pulling that out. I may jump into the engine compartment and start doing a little bit of work there. In order to find out, you're going to have to stay tuned and watch the next episode. Speaking of which, if you haven't already, please be sure that you like and subscribe. If you don't like, give it a thumbs down. That's fine too. Please leave any comments that you might have. I really enjoy reading the comments since I'm not monetized. It's really the only extra joy I get out of doing this. And also be sure you check out my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and website. I've got all of those things now. And up on the website, I'm going to put a lot more of the details around the different parts that I've used to do this, especially for those shocks, since they don't actually make the right shocks for this car anymore. So the information on what I used and how that went will be up on the website as well. So with all that being said, thanks much for watching. And until next time, see ya. One thing real quick, just as a reminder, everything you see me doing, I learned by watching YouTube. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a mechanic. So please feel free to watch this, use it for entertainment value, maybe take some suggestions from it, but no, I don't know what I'm doing. So don't sue me if anything I've said or done is wrong.